I was sitting in my recliner when they walked in. My son Jason and that wife of his Brenda, holding empty cardboard boxes and black trash bags. Big ones, lots of them. I could still smell the coffee I had made that morning. I still thought it was a normal Saturday. It had been 3 months since my Teresa passed away. 3 months that I looked at her things and could not touch anything. The house was exactly how she left it. I did not want to move a single thing. I needed to feel her here. We came to do some cleaning, Dad said Jason with a smile that I did not recognize. In 4 hours there was nothing left. Not the curtains Teresa sewed. Not my father's clock. Not my wedding photo. They took everything. And I stood there paralyzed in the middle of the empty living room, not understanding what had just happened. But they did not know that the security camera had recorded every second, every word, every betrayal. If this story touches your soul, subscribe. Every day I share a story that could be yours or your father's or someone you love. Tell me in the comments where you are listening from. My name is Frank Robinson. I am 68 years old. I was a carpenter for 42 years until my hands said enough. Now I am sitting on the floor of my own living room, empty, completely empty. It is 8 o'clock on Saturday night, and the walls have lighter spots where the pictures used to hang. Perfect rectangles that look like open wounds on the yellow paint. I run my hand over the cold floor and I feel the dirt, accumulated where the red rug with embroidered flowers used to be. The one Teresa bought 15 years ago at the downtown market. The one I hated but she defended as if it were a treasure is gone now, like everything else. And I am here trying to understand how my own blood did this to me. This morning at 10 I was drinking coffee when the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there was Jason with that smile that lately gives me suspicion. "Dad, how are you this morning?" He hugged me tight. Too tight. Behind him came Brenda with her arms crossed, looking at my house as if it were a dumpster. "Hello, Frank," she said to me without smiling. She never smiles. In 5 years of marriage to my son, I have never seen her truly smile. Jason was carrying folded cardboard boxes under his arm. "Dad, we have to talk," he said, pushing me gently inside. And I let them in like always. Because you never close the door on a son, even though you should. "Dad, look at this," said Jason, pointing at the living room. "Everything is neglected dust, everywhere Mom's things still scattered around. This is not healthy." I looked around. Yes, there was dust. Yes, Teresa's things were still where she left them. Her knitting half finished on the sofa. Her magazines stacked by the side table. Her pink slippers by the door. "It does not bother me," I told him, and it was true. Those things made me feel like Teresa still lived here, that at any moment she was going to come out of the kitchen drying her hands on her apron. Brenda let out a dry laugh. "Frank, you are living in a museum. This is not a life." She pulled the black trash bags out of her purse. Big industrial ones, the size they use to clean up construction sites. "We came to help you clean, Dad, to organize, so you can go back to living like a normal person." Jason was already assembling the boxes fast, as if he had practiced it. "I do not need help, son," I said, trying to sound firm, but my voice came out shaky. "I can do it alone when I am ready." Brenda was already in the bedroom. I heard her open the wardrobe, the one I made with my own hands for Teresa when we got married. The sound of the wooden doors creaking pierced my chest. "Wait!" I screamed. Jason put his hand on my shoulder. "Dad, sit down. Rest. We will take care of it, trust me." And I, like an idiot, sat down, in my recliner. The one my father gave me. The one Teresa reupholstered 3 times because I did not want to throw it away. I sat and watched them move through my house like vultures. Teresa kept everything clean. Every Saturday she cleaned everything in its place. She said disorder took away her peace, and now I understand she was right, because without that order I feel lost. But I cannot do it. I cannot touch her things and pack them away as if they did not matter, as if she had not existed. Every object has her voice, her smell, her memory, and I am not ready for the silence. "Does this still work, Dad?" Jason lifted the blue vase my mother gave me before dying, the one with a crack in the rim, the one Teresa filled with flowers, every Sunday. Yes, it works, I said, standing up. Jason, do not touch that vase. He looked at it. He weighed it. It is broken, Dad. It is not broken. It has a crack. It is different. He sighed, wrapped it in newspaper, and put it in a box. Jason, I told you no. Dad, we cannot keep broken things. And he kept packing. I stood there with my hands trembling, wanting to rip it away from him, but I did not, because something in his look stopped me. Something cold. Something I had never seen before in my son. Brenda came out of the room carrying a bundle of clothes. Teresa's clothes, her dresses, her sweaters, the ones that still smelled like her. No, I screamed. I ran toward her. Those clothes are not to be touched. Brenda did not even stop. Frank, these clothes are useless. They are old, out of fashion. No one is going to wear them. I do not want anyone to wear them. I want them to stay where they are. I grabbed the bag. She pulled. I pulled. The fabric tore. A light blue dress fell to the floor. The dress Teresa wore on our 40th anniversary. I picked it up. I pressed it against my chest. And Brenda looked at me as if I were trash. Jason, your dad is not well, she said. And Jason came. He took the dress from me, gentle but firm. Dad calmed down. This is for your own good. Everything accelerated then. In 30 minutes, they emptied the living room. In an hour, the dining room was naked. I tried to stop them, but it was like trying to stop an avalanche with my hands. Brenda shouted orders. That too. Not that that is horrible. Jason obeyed, like a soldier, as if I were not there. I saw the curtains Teresa sewed by hand pass by, the lamp we bought on our trip to Florida, the porcelain plates that belonged to her grandmother, the books I read out loud when she washed dishes, everything in bags, everything disappearing, and I stood in the middle of the hurricane, unable to do anything, feeling smaller and smaller, more invisible, more dead. It was when they took out the wardrobe that something broke inside me. I saw it pass through the door, that piece of furniture that took me 2 months to make, that I carved with rose designs because they were Teresa's favorite flowers, that I varnished 6 times until it was perfect. I saw it leave my house in the arms of Jason and a guy I had never seen, a guy Brenda must have called. Jason, I shouted with a voice I did not recognize. He stopped. He looked at me. What, Dad? That wardrobe does not leave this house. Dad, it does not fit in your life anymore. I decided that it fits in my life. No, Dad, you do not decide anything anymore because you are not well, and someone has to take care of you even if you do not want it. And he kept walking. And I stood there with those words nailed into my chest. You do not decide anything anymore. My own son, my blood, telling me I was no longer the owner of my life. By 2 p.m, there was almost nothing left. Only the big furniture that did not fit in the moving truck Brenda had rented. A truck. They had planned this. It was not spontaneous. They brought a truck and boxes and industrial bags. This was calculated, thought out, and I never saw it coming. Jason came to say goodbye, sweaty, tired. Ready, Dad, it is done. Now you can start over, clean without ties to the past. I looked at him and searched his eyes for the boy he was, the one I hugged when he had nightmares, the one who cried when he fell off his bike. I did not find him. There was only a stranger. Where is my father's clock? I asked him. He frowned. Which clock? The wall clock, the one that chimed the hours. Oh, that one did not work. I threw it out. It worked perfectly. I wound it every Sunday. He shrugged. It does not matter any more, Dad. It is gone. They left at 3. I saw them get into the truck loaded with my life, with 43 years of marriage packed in boxes and bags. Brenda at the wheel, Jason in the passenger seat looking at his cell phone. He did not even say goodbye. He did not even look back. And when they drove off, I closed the door. I turned around, and I saw the void, the naked walls, the cold floor, the silence that hurt my ears. And it was there when I looked up that I saw it, the security camera in the corner of the ceiling, the little red light blinking, still on, still recording, and something in my chest moved, small, fragile, but real. That camera had recorded everything, every box, every word, every lie, and somehow that meant I was not crazy, that this had really happened, and that maybe, just maybe, there was a way to prove it. On Monday, I woke up lying on the floor of my room. No mattress, no sheets. Just an old blanket I found crumpled in the bathroom closet, the only place they did not touch. Maybe because there was nothing to steal there, or maybe because they forgot. I woke up with my body aching, my back stiff, my knees swollen. I am 68 years old. I cannot sleep on the floor. But I had no choice. I got up slowly. Every movement was an effort. I looked around searching for something, anything, a trace that my life had existed there. But there was nothing. Just empty walls and the echo of my steps. I went to the kitchen. I opened the pantry. Empty. The refrigerator. Empty. They had taken even the food, even the rice, even the salt, everything. I made myself a watered-down coffee with the last bit left in the jar. I did not even have sugar. I drank it bitter, sitting on the kitchen floor, looking at the space where the table used to be. The table where Teresa and I had breakfast together for 43 years, where Jason did his homework when he was a boy, where we celebrated every birthday, every Christmas, every New Year. It was gone. And while I drank that bitter coffee, I thought of something that froze my blood. What if this is not over? What if Jason wants more? What if he wants the house? This house is mine. I bought it with Teresa, after saving for 10 years, working double shifts in carpentry. It is in my name. But what if he found a way I needed to know? I needed to make sure my savings were safe. I got to the bank at 9, the same branch where I have had an account for 30 years. The security guard greeted me. "Frank, how are you?" "Good. Hector, thanks." I lied. I was not good. But you do not tell your life to the bank guard. There was a line. There is always a line on Mondays. I stood behind a lady arguing with her teenage son. Wait. 15 minutes. 20:30. When I got to the window, the teller recognized me. "Frank, good morning. How can I help you?" "I need to make a withdrawal." "Liliana?" "Sure, how much?" $200. She smiled, typed, and the smile vanished. She typed again. She looked at me. "Frank, there is a problem." "What problem? Your account is at 0. The words took a while to reach me, as if they came from very far away. "What do you mean, 0? My voice sounded hoarse. "Strange. Your account was emptied last Friday at 3:15 in the afternoon. A digital transfer. I did not make any transfer." "Sir, it says here it was authorized with your fingerprint and your personal password." She showed me the screen. There it was. Transfer of $36,000. Everything I had. Everything I had saved in 40 years of work. Transferred to an account I did not recognize. That is not possible. I did not authorize that. I was not here on Friday. Liliana got nervous. "Frank, you need to talk to the manager. I cannot help you with this." And she pressed a button, and the whole bank started looking at me. During 40 years, I was careful with every dollar. Teresa taught me. Frank money does not grow on trees, and I listened to her. We save 20% of every paycheck, without fail. Not even on birthdays. Always 20%. For old age. To not be a burden. To live with dignity when I could not work anymore. And now they were telling me that all of that had disappeared in a single click. The manager came out of his office. A young guy, early 30s, expensive suit, blue tie. He looked at me the way one looks at a problem. "Frank, please come in." He took me to a small room. Cold, smelling of cheap air freshener. I sat on a plastic chair. He checked my account on his tablet. "I see there was indeed a transfer on Friday. Authorized digitally?" "I did not authorize it. Frank, do you live alone?" "Yes. My wife passed away 3 months ago." "Do you have family who knows your passwords?" And there I understood everything. My son. "Does he have access to your accounts?" No. Well, he helped me install the bank app on my phone 2 months ago. He said it was easier that way. The manager nodded, as if he already knew the whole story. Frank, this happens a lot. Children help with technology, and sometimes there are misunderstandings. This is not a misunderstanding, I said, raising my voice. My son robbed me. He stole all my money. The manager raised his hands. Sir, I cannot make that accusation. What I suggest is that you talk to your family, clarify the situation. And if there is a crime, go to the police. You cannot do anything. The system records that the transfer was authorized correctly. There are no technical irregularities. But I did not authorize it. Frank, please lower your voice. I am not going to lower my voice. I was robbed. Sir, if you keep shouting, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I stood up. The chair fell. It made a loud noise. The whole bank went silent. Everyone was looking at me. The manager stood up too. Frank, leave, please. And there I knew no one was going to help me. That for them I was just a shouting old man, confused, senile. I left the bank with my legs trembling. I felt all the eyes nailed to my back. I heard the whispers. Poor old guy. Surely he has dementia. How sad. And every word was a stab. I walked fast, aimlessly, not knowing where to go. I sat on a bench in the park across the street. I took out my cell phone. I called Jason. It rang once, twice, 3, 4, voice, mail. The number you dialed is not available. I dialed again, voicemail, again, voicemail. 5 times, 6, 7, and nothing. Jason was not answering, and then I saw something on my WhatsApp, a message from him. From last night, at 11 at night. Dad, I hope you are resting. We will talk tomorrow. Tomorrow. Today was tomorrow. And he had not called. He was not going to call. I opened my mobile banking. I logged in with my password. I saw the movement. Transfer to Jason Robinson. My son. My own blood. There was his name. Without shame, without hiding, he had robbed me, and he did not even try to hide it, as if he had the right, as if that money was his. I checked more movements. There was another one. From Thursday, 2 days before emptying my house. $500 to the same account. And another one from Wednesday. $300. This was not impulse. This was planned. For weeks, maybe months, while I mourned Teresa, while I tried to survive each day. My son was planning how to steal everything from me. I sat there, I do not know how long. I saw a father pass with his son. The boy must have been about 6 years old. They walked holding hands. The father was buying him an ice cream. The boy laughed, and I thought, once upon a time Jason was that boy. Once upon a time he looked at me with those eyes full of love. Once upon a time I was his hero. At what moment did that change? At what moment did my son start seeing me as a nuisance, as something to get rid of? I took out my wallet. I had $40. That was all. $40 to survive. I did not know until when. I did not know how I was going to eat, how I was going to pay utilities, how I was going to live. And I realized that was exactly what Jason wanted, that I could not fend for myself, that I needed help, his help, so he could control me, or something worse. I walked back home, an 1.5-hour walk, because I did not have money for the bus. When I arrived, my feet hurt. Everything hurt. I went in, I closed the door, and I let myself fall against it, there on the floor, and I looked at the ceiling, at the camera that kept blinking, and I thought, maybe tomorrow Jason calls. Maybe he has an explanation. Maybe this is a mistake. Maybe it can be fixed. But deep down, I already knew none of that was going to happen, because when someone robs you, it is not a mistake. It is a decision. And Jason had decided that I did not matter anymore. That my life, my memories, my money, everything was his to take, and that hurt more than the hunger, more than the cold of the floor, more than the empty house. That was killing me slowly. On Tuesday morning, I got up from the floor with a plan. If the bank would not help me, the police had to. This was robbery, a crime, and crimes are reported. I showered with cold water because Jason had also canceled the gas. I put on the same wrinkled clothes from the day before because they were the only ones I had. I looked for a piece of paper in the trash and a pen. I sat on the floor and wrote. Everything they had taken, the wooden wardrobe, the embroidered curtains, my father's clock, Teresa's grandmother's plates. The list kept growing. 43 years of life reduced to 2 pages with shaky handwriting. I folded the paper, I put it in my pocket, and I went out, determined. This time someone had to listen to me. This time someone had to see that this was wrong. The police station was 6 blocks away. I arrived sweating, hungry. I had not eaten anything since Sunday, only tap water. My stomach hurt, but I ignored it. I went in. The place smelled of old coffee and disinfectant. A young officer was at the counter looking at his cell phone. Impeccable uniform. Bored face. "Good morning," I told him. He barely looked up. "Good morning. What do you need? I want to file a report." "A robbery." That caught his attention for half a second. He put down the cell phone. "When did it happen?" "On Saturday. In my house." "Did they break in?" "No. It was my son." The officer leaned back in his chair. He looked me up and down, like evaluating me. "Your son robbed you." "Yes. He and his wife emptied my entire house. They took everything." I took out my list. I put it on the counter. Wrinkled. Stained. This is what they took. The officer did not even touch the list. "Sir, does your son have keys to your house?" "Yes. But does he live with you?" "No." "Then there is no illegal entry. It was probably a donation." "It was not a donation. They robbed me. Without my permission. Without asking me." The officer sighed, as if this conversation bored him. "Sir, this sounds like a family problem. We do not get involved in—" "I worked 42 years, I interrupted him. My voice came out stronger than I expected. 42 years as a carpenter. I bought everything on that list with my own hands, with my sweat. That wardrobe I made myself. Those curtains my wife sewed. That clock was my father's. They are not just things. It is my life." The officer looked at me expressionless. "I understand, sir, but I need proof that it was a robbery and not a voluntary donation." "I have a security camera," I said quickly. "In my house. It recorded everything." The officer's eyes lit up barely. "Do you have the recording?" "It is in the camera. Bring it then. On a USB drive or on your phone." I do not know how to get it out. My wife installed that camera before dying. I do not understand technology. The officer took my list. He gave it back to me. "Sir, go home. Get the recording. And come back. Without evidence, I cannot do anything. But my son also stole my money." "From the bank. $36,000. That must be registered." "Do you have a report from the bank?" "The bank told me it was a family matter. Then they do not see a crime." "Look, sir, my advice is that you talk to your family. Find a mediator, a lawyer. We do not." "But he robbed me," I shouted. 2 more officers turned to look at me. The young one stood up. "Sir, if you keep shouting, I am going to ask you to leave." I took my list from the counter. I folded it with trembling hands. "So, you are not going to do anything?" "We cannot do anything without evidence, sir. I'm sorry." He was not sorry. It showed on his face. To him, I was just another old man complaining, another problem he did not want to deal with. I left the station feeling like I was drowning. The sun was hitting hard. It was barely 11 in the morning, but the heat was unbearable. I leaned against the wall. I breathed deep, and it was then when I saw it. On the other side of the street, a white truck, the same one from Saturday, I was sure. It had a sticker on the rear window, a cartoon dog. My heart started beating fast. What was that truck doing there? Were they following me? I crossed the street, almost running, without looking. A car honked at me. They yelled at me. I did not care. I reached the truck. I touched the hood. Warm. It had arrived recently. I looked toward the nearby businesses, a bakery, a pharmacy, a notary public, and then the door of the notary office opened, and she came out. Brenda. She was carrying a thick folder under her arm, wearing makeup, elegant dress, high heels, as if she were going to an important meeting, and when she saw me, she smiled. That fake smile I hate so much. She walked straight toward me. "Frank," she said with a honeyed voice, "what a surprise seeing you here." "What are you doing here?" I asked her. I tried to sound firm, but my voice cracked. She opened the truck door, got in, put the folder on the passenger seat. But before closing the door, I managed to see documents with the notary logo, and at the top, my name, Frank Robinson. My stomach contracted. "What is that?" I pointed at the folder. "Just boring paperwork, Frank. Nothing you need to worry about." "That has my name." "It has many names. You worry too much." She started the engine. "You know what I think, Frank. I think you need to rest. I think all this is stressing you out. And stress is not good at your age." She leaned toward me. Her sweet perfume gave me nausea. "Very soon we are going to solve all this. I promise you." She accelerated and left, leaving me standing there, with my heart pounding in my chest. Documents with my name at a notary. What were they doing? What were they processing? I went into the notary. A young receptionist received me. "Good morning. How can I help you?" "The lady who just left. The one in the blue dress. What paperwork did she come to do?" The receptionist frowned. "Sir, that information is confidential. It is about me. She has documents with my name. If it is about you, then you should know." "I do not know. That is why I am asking." "I am sorry, sir. I cannot give you that information." I insisted. I begged. I humiliated myself. But they told me nothing. I left there more scared than when I entered. They were planning something legal, something with my name, and I had no idea what it was. I walked aimlessly for an hour, maybe more. Hunger was making me dizzy. I saw a fruit stand on a corner, bright red apples. My stomach growled. I took out my wallet. I had $30 left. I bought 2 apples. $3. I ate them right there, standing in the street. Fast. Almost without chewing. They tasted like glory. When I finished, I felt worse, hungrier than before, as if my body had remembered what eating was, and now demanded more. I kept walking. I passed in front of a used furniture store, and something in the window stopped me dead. A wardrobe, made of wood, with hand-carved rose designs. My wardrobe, the one I made, the one Jason took. It was there, for sale, with a sign. Antique, handcrafted work, $800. I entered the store like in a trance. "That wardrobe," I told the salesman, a fat man with a mustache. "Where did you get it?" "I bought it yesterday. A young guy sold it to me. Good price. That wardrobe is mine." The salesman looked at me suspiciously. "Yours? I made it, with my hands. They stole it from me on Saturday. Sir, I bought it legally. I have a receipt. That boy had no right to sell it. Well, he told me it was his, and showed me ID. All legal. Can I see it?" The wardrobe. Sure. I got closer. I ran my fingers over the wood, over the roses I carved with so much care. Every petal, every leaf, I could still feel the effort, the hours, the love I put there. "How much do you want for it?" I asked him. The salesman looked at me surprised. 800, like the sign says. I had $27. "I cannot pay that." "Then I cannot give it to you, sir." "But it is mine." "Not any more, sir. Now it is mine. And if you do not buy it, someone else will." I left the store with tears in my eyes. My wardrobe. The one I made for Teresa being sold like trash and me unable to do anything. I kept walking, dazed, and I passed in front of a park. There was a man sitting on a bench, with a boy. The boy must have been about 5 years old. They were eating ice cream. The father wiped his mouth with a napkin. The boy laughed, and the father looked at him with so much love that it broke my soul. That is how I looked at Jason. That is how I played with him. That is how I took care of him. And now that same boy had destroyed me. He had erased me, as if I had never been his father, as if those years meant nothing. The man saw me looking at them. He smiled at me. A cordial greeting. I could not return the smile. I just kept walking, carrying the weight of everything I had lost. I got home when it was already getting dark. I opened with my new key. I entered, locked it, put the chain on, and I let myself fall against the door, the cold floor against my back, the crushing silence. And for the first time since all this started, I thought, maybe I deserve it. Maybe I was a bad father. Maybe I did not give Jason what he needed. Maybe Teresa was right when she said I worked too much, that I was never home, that I missed important moments. Maybe this is my punishment. Maybe God is charging me for every time I chose carpentry over my son. And if it is so, maybe I should accept it. Maybe I should let Jason do what he wants. Because in the end, what right do I have to complain? But then in the darkness, I saw the little red light of the camera, still blinking, still there, and something in my chest hardened. No, this was not divine justice. This was human evil, and I did not deserve to be erased. On Wednesday, I woke up before dawn. I could not sleep. Hunger woke me up every 2 hours. My stomach hurt. Everything hurt. But I had to do something. I could not stay there waiting for Jason to finish destroying me. I thought about who could help me. I mentally reviewed every person I knew, and there were so few left. Teresa was the one who kept the friendships, the one who invited people, the one who organized lunches. I only worked. But there was someone, Mrs. Higgins, the neighbor, Teresa's best friend for 20 years. If anyone was going to believe me, it had to be her. I washed my face. I combed my hair with my hands. I went out when the sun was barely starting to rise. Mrs. Higgins' house was 3 houses down, yellow, with geraniums in the entrance. I rang the doorbell. I waited. I heard steps. The door opened barely. A crack. Mrs. Higgins' eye appeared. Frank, Mrs. Higgins. Good morning. Can I come in? She did not take off the security chain. What do you need, Frank? It is very early. I need to talk to you. It is urgent. Did something happen? Yes. Jason. He and Brenda robbed me. They emptied my house. They took everything from me. And no one believes me. I need you to. Frank. She interrupted me. Her voice was cold. Strange. Jason came to see me? My heart sank when on Sunday he told me everything. Everything, yes. He told me that you are very confused lately, that you forget things, that sometimes you do not know what day it is, that you see things that do not exist. That is a lie, Mrs. Higgins. He showed me messages, Frank, messages that you sent him, saying that you heard Teresa, that she spoke to you at night. I never wrote those messages. I saw them on Jason's phone with my own eyes. Then he invented them. Mrs. Higgins, you know me. You knew Teresa. You know I am not crazy. She shook her head slowly. Frank, losing Teresa was very hard for everyone. But you are not handling it well. And that is okay. It is normal. But you need help. Teresa and Mrs. Higgins drank coffee together every afternoon. For 20 years. They told each other everything. They laughed together, cried together. And now Mrs. Higgins looked at me like a stranger. Jason told me they went to help you, to clean the house, and that you got aggressive, that you almost hit him. That is not true. Is it not, or do you not remember? Mrs. Higgins, please. They robbed me. It is all on the security camera. It recorded everything. Frank Jason is doing the right thing. He is taking care of you, protecting you. Sometimes children have to take difficult decisions for their parents. Decisions. Robbing me is a decision. It is not robbery if it is for your own good. She started closing the door. Mrs. Higgins, wait. Please at least listen to me. I already listened to you, Frank, and I think you should talk to Jason. Fix things. He only wants the best for you. She closed the door. I heard the lock, and I stood there, feeling how another door closed, not just the one to her house, the one to any hope of help. I walked aimlessly, not knowing where to go. And then I thought of Steve, my partner from the carpentry shop. We worked together 30 years. We were friends, or so I believed. His house was far. 12 blocks, maybe more, but I had no choice. I started walking. The sun was already high. It was hot. I had not eaten anything, only water. My legs trembled, but I kept going. I had to keep going. I arrived after an hour, sweaty, dizzy. I knocked on the door. Steve's wife opened. "Frank Amelia, good morning. Is Steve home?" She looked at me uncomfortable. "He is inside, but I need to talk to him. It is important. Frank Steve told me that if you came, that he could not receive you." I felt like I was drowning. "Why, I am sorry. Those are his orders. Amelia, please, just 5 minutes." She shook her head. "I am sorry, Frank. Take care." And she closed the door. She did not even let me explain. She did not even let me try. I knocked on the door again. "Steve, Steve. I know you're there. Please." Nothing. I knocked again, harder. "Hey, Steve, we worked together 30 years. 30 years? Does that mean nothing?" The door opened. But it was not Amelia. It was Steve with a serious, annoyed face. "Frank, go away." "Steve, I need your help. I cannot help you." "Why, what did Jason tell you?" "He told me the truth, that you are bad, that you need professional help, and that you are harassing people with crazy stories." "They are not crazy stories. They are facts. They robbed me." "That is what you say. Jason says something else, and you believe him and not me. He is your son, Frank. Why would he rob you for money for the house for... You are paranoid. You are inventing things." "I am not inventing anything," I shouted. Steve took a step back. "Go away, Frank, before I call the police." "The police? Why, for harassment, for disturbing the peace. Go away now." And he closed the door, locked it, and I stood there on his porch feeling that the entire world had turned its back on me. I walked back toward my house, slow, defeated, without a fixed direction, and then on a corner I saw someone familiar, Mr. Henderson. He was standing in front of a small house, humble, with peeling paint. It was not the house I remembered. Mr. Henderson had had a big house, 2 stories, with a garden. This was different. "Mr. Henderson," I called him. He turned. He looked at me surprised. "Frank, Mr. Henderson." "What are you doing here?" I pointed at the small house. "Do you live here?" He lowered his eyes, ashamed. "Yes, now I live here. But your house, it is not mine anymore. Do you want to come in?" He gestured toward the door. "I need to talk to someone," I told him. He nodded. "Come in. But I cannot offer you much. I live alone." We went in. The house was tiny. A single room. Kitchen, living room, and bedroom all together. Dark. Smelling musty. We sat down, and I told him everything. From the beginning. Mr. Henderson listened in silence, without interrupting. When I finished, he sighed deep. "Frank, do you know what happened with my son, Robert?" "Yes, Robert. 5 years ago, he put me in a nursing home. He told me it was temporary, that it was for my own good. I was there 2 years. 2 years, Frank, until I escaped. Literally escaped. And when I returned to my house, it was not mine anymore. Robert had sold it. He kept everything. I froze. And what did you do?" "Nothing. I could not do anything. He had legal power over me. He signed papers. He declared me incompetent. All legal. All perfect. And I was left with nothing. But that is unfair." "Yes. Illegal. Apparently not. Children can do whatever they want if they convince a judge that the father cannot take care of himself." Mr. Henderson looked at me fixedly. "Frank, if your son is doing what I think he's doing, you have to act fast. Very fast. Because once they sign the papers, there is no turning back." "What papers?" "Incapacity. Conservatorship. Legal power. There are many forms, but they all end the same. You lose control of your life, and they gain control of everything of yours. And how do I stop it? You need proof that you are well, that you can take care of yourself. Medical certificates, witnesses, something. I have none of that. Then you're lost. Frank?" He got up, went to the kitchen, came back with a glass of water. He gave it to me. "Drink, you look bad." I drank. The water was warm, but it calmed me. Mr. Henderson, do you believe me? I believe you. Because it happened to me. I know how this works. Would you help me? Could you testify that I am well? He shook his head. I cannot, Frank. Robert threatened me. If I talk, if I get into other people's problems, he puts me back in the home, and I am not going back there. I am sorry. I understand. I did not blame him. He was afraid, like me, like everyone. I left Mr. Henderson's house with more fear than hope. Now I knew what Jason was planning, conservatorship, declare me incompetent, and once he achieved it, he could do whatever he wanted. Sell the house, keep everything, put me in a home, erase me completely, and I had no way to stop him. I had no money for a lawyer. I had no witnesses. I had no proof that I was well, because everyone believed I was bad. Jason had built the perfect narrative, and I fell straight into it. I walked back home feeling that every step brought me closer to the abyss. And the worst was that Jason had planned it all. For weeks, maybe months. He talked to every person. He planted every doubt. He falsified every message. He built every lie. And now he just had to sign the papers and I would disappear. I got home when it was already night. I went in, closed the door, sat on the floor, and looked at the camera, the little red light, and I understood something. That camera was my only salvation, but I could not access it alone. I needed help, technical help, and I did not know anyone. I took out my cell phone. I searched on Google, security camera technician Chicago. Dozens of results appeared. I chose one at random. I dialed. It rang 3 times. Good evening, TechServe. Good evening. I need help with a security camera. Sure. What kind of help? I need to download a recording. It is urgent. We can send a technician tomorrow between 2 and 5 in the afternoon. Can it not be sooner? I am sorry, sir. Tomorrow is the earliest. How much does it cost? The visit is $50. I had $27 left. I understand. Thanks. I hung up. I did not even have money for that. Not even to save my own life. And it was then when I understood that this had not been just planned. It had been perfect. Jason had left me without money, without friends, without options, without exit. And now I just had to wait for me to give up, or disappear. Whatever happened first. On Thursday morning, I was sitting on the living room floor. I had not slept. Hunger was a live animal in my stomach. I had spent the whole night searching on my cell phone how to download security camera videos, tutorial after tutorial. None worked. They were all for different cameras. For apps I did not have. For passwords I did not know. At 7 in the morning, I gave up. I closed my eyes. And it was then that the doorbell rang. My heart jumped. Jason, Brenda, the police. I got up slowly. I walked to the door. I looked through the peephole. A young woman, blue uniform, clipboard in hand. I did not know her. I opened barely, with the chain on. Yes, good morning, Frank Robinson. Yes, that is me. I am Celeste, Form Total Security. I am here to do the monthly check of your security camera. I froze. Monthly check. Yes, sir. It is part of the contract. A technical check every 30 days. Celeste took out a tablet, touched the screen. It says here that your wife, Mrs. Teresa Robinson, contracted the service 13 months ago. Camera with cloud recording. Maintenance included. Teresa. Of course, she was always meticulous with those things. She always thought of everything. And I never paid attention. I never asked how it worked. I never cared. Until now. I thought it had been canceled. No, sir. The service is prepaid for 2 years. We have 11 months left. I opened the door completely. I took off the chain. Come in. Please, come in. Celeste entered, and she stopped. She looked around, the empty walls, the bare floor, the marks where the furniture used to be. You are moving, Frank. Her voice had genuine concern, and that broke me. I crumbled. Right there, in front of a stranger. I am not moving, I said with a broken voice. I was robbed. My son. My own son came on Saturday and took everything. He emptied my house. He emptied my bank account. He left me with nothing. And no one believes me. The police do not believe me. My neighbors do not believe me. My friends do not believe me. Everyone thinks I am crazy, that I am senile, that I invent things, but I do not invent them. It happened. Everything happened exactly as I say, and the only proof I have is there. I pointed at the camera. In that damn camera that I do not know how to use. My whole body was shaking. Celeste said nothing. She just looked at me, and I thought she was going to leave, that she was going to run out like everyone else. But she did not. She came closer to me. She put her hand on my shoulder. "Frank, sit down, please." There was nowhere to sit. I sat on the floor. She sat in front of me. She crossed her legs, put the clipboard aside. "Tell me everything," she said, "from the beginning." And I told her. Everything. Every detail. The wardrobe, the bank, the police, the notary, the neighbors, Mr. Henderson. Everything. I spoke for 20 minutes without stopping, and Celeste listened, without interrupting, without judging. She just listened. When I finished, she nodded slowly. "Frank, can I recover that recording?" "Can you?" My voice sounded desperate. "Yes. The images are stored in the cloud for 90 days. Then they are deleted automatically. But you were lucky. Today is Thursday. Saturday was 5 days ago. Everything is still there. Can you show me?" "Now I need my computer. It is in the truck. But there is something else." She took out her cell phone. "I am going to do something I technically should not do. I am going to give you full access to the account, username and password, so you can log in whenever you want. Watch the recordings. Download them. Whatever you need." Why, I asked her. "Why are you helping me?" Celeste looked at the floor, at the empty walls. "My grandfather," she said finally. 3 years ago, his son put him in a nursing home, took everything from him, the house, the savings, everything. And when we realized it was too late, my grandfather died there, alone, sad, convinced that his family had abandoned him. And I did nothing, because I was young, because I did not understand, because I thought adults knew what they were doing. She looked at me fixedly. "I am not going to make the same mistake twice." She went out to her truck. She came back with a laptop. She sat on the floor with me, opened the computer. She typed fast. "Ready, here it is. See this icon. It is the recording from Saturday." She clicked, and there it was. My living room, empty still. The clock in the corner said 9:47 a.m. And then they entered, Jason and Brenda, with the boxes, with the bags. And it all started again, but this time I was watching it from the outside, like a movie, as if it were happening to someone else. "Do you want to see everything?" asked Celeste. "It lasts almost 4 hours. No, not now. I could not. Not yet. But I need a copy. Can you give me a copy?" "Sure. Do you have a USB drive?" I did not have one. "It does not matter. I can leave you one. And I am also going to teach you how to download the videos directly from your cell phone." She spent the next 30 minutes teaching me, slow with patience as if it were the most important thing in the world. "It is done," she said finally. "Now you can log in from anywhere, see everything, download everything." "Celeste, I do not know how to thank you. Do not thank me yet. This is just evidence. Now you need to do something with it." "What?" "Go to a lawyer, not the police, a lawyer, a good one, specialized in family law, and show him this." "I do not have money for a lawyer." Celeste frowned. She thought, "Let me make some calls. I know people. Maybe someone can help you pro bono, or with a discount. Would you do that?" "Yes." She got up, put away her laptop. "Frank, I will come back tomorrow, with information, with names, with something. Do not give up. Do you hear me? Do not give up." And she left, leaving me there, on the floor, with the USB in my hand, and for the first time in days I felt something. Small, fragile, but real. Hope. That afternoon, I stayed looking at the USB. Red. Small. But it contained everything. The truth. My salvation. I connected it to my phone with an adapter Celeste left me. I opened the video, and I forced myself to watch it. Complete. The 4 hours. I saw Jason packing Teresa's things without care, throwing them, laughing. I saw Brenda trying on Teresa's jewelry in front of the mirror, admiring herself. I saw when they took out the wardrobe, when I begged them not to take it, and I saw my face, broken, pleading, pathetic. Did I look like that? Was I that destroyed? I kept watching, and then came a part I did not remember. Jason and Brenda in the kitchen, speaking low, thinking I did not hear them, because I was in the bedroom, crying on Teresa's empty bed. "Did you sign the papers?" asked Brenda. "Tomorrow. I have an appointment at the notary on Monday, and if he refuses, he will not be able to refuse. I have everything. The fake messages, the neighbors' testimonies, the medical certificate. What medical certificate? I paid Dr. Roberts $500. He signed a paper saying my dad has advanced senile dementia, that he cannot make decisions, that he needs permanent care." Brenda laughed. "You are a genius." "No, I am just practical. In 2 months he will be in the Oakwood nursing home, and this house will be ours. I already talked to a buyer. He offers $300,000. We split it 50-50. And your dad? What about him? In the home he will be fine. He will have food, roof. What else does he need?" My blood froze. I paused the video, rewound, listened again. I paid Dr. Roberts $500. A fake medical certificate. That was what I saw at the notary. Documents to declare me incompetent, to steal my house, to erase me. I kept watching, and another scene appeared. Jason alone. I had gone out to the patio. I do not remember why. And he took my phone, the one I had left on the table. He unlocked it. My password was simple. Teresa's birth date. Jason knew it. He went into WhatsApp, and he started writing messages to himself. From my phone. Teresa speaks to me. I hear her at night. I know she is here. I know she did not leave. She tells me things. She asks me to go with her. Message after message, all dated 3 weeks back. And then he deleted them from my phone. But they remained on his, as evidence of my supposed madness. I saw him do it all, with calm, with precision, as if he had practiced it. And I realized this was not planned in weeks. It was planned in months. Maybe since before Teresa died. Maybe since she was diagnosed with kidney failure. Jason had been waiting, preparing, building his plan, and I never saw it coming. I turned off the video. I could not watch more. My hands were trembling. My heart beat so fast I thought I was going to have a heart attack. But I had to calm down. I had to think. Now I had proof. Real proof. Irrefutable. I had Jason confessing. I had the fake medical certificate. I had everything. But would it be enough? Would they believe me now? I lay on the floor, closed my eyes, and thought of Teresa, of what she would do. Frank, she would tell me, do not give up, never give up. And I smiled, small, sad, because Teresa always knew I needed pushes, that I was a coward sometimes, and that is why she installed that camera. Not for security, but for me, because she knew that someday I was going to need it, as if she had seen all this coming, as if she had known Jason was capable of this, and she left me a way to defend myself, even after death. Teresa was still taking care of me. On Friday morning, Celeste returned. She rang the doorbell at 9 sharp. I was already awake, waiting for her. I opened the door. She entered with a smile. Small, but real. "Frank, I have news. Good." "That depends. I found a lawyer. His name is Richard Bennett. He is good. Very good. He specializes in cases of abuse against the elderly, and he agreed to see you. How much does he charge?" "Nothing. For now. He said he wants to see the evidence first. If the case is solid, he will work on contingency fees. meaning he only gets paid if he wins. I could not believe it. When can I see him today at 3 in the afternoon? In his office. She gave me the address. I saved it in my phone. Celeste, Say nothing, Frank. Just go and take the USB. Show him everything. She nodded, turned to leave. Celeste? Yes, thank you. Really, I do not know what I would have done without you. She smiled. You would have found another way. Men like you always do. I spent the rest of the morning preparing. I showered, put on the least wrinkled clothes I had. I shaved with an old razor I found. I looked in the mirror. I still looked like a homeless person, but at least a clean one. I left the house at 2. The lawyer's office was far. I had to take 2 buses, $27. That was all my money. The fare cost $5. Round trip, $10. I would have $17 left, enough to eat something cheap, maybe 2 more days. I got on the first bus. I sat in the back, and during the whole trip I mentally rehearsed what I was going to say, how I was going to explain it, how I was going to convince the lawyer that my case was worth it. Because if he rejected me, I had no plan B. There was no one else. This was my last chance. I arrived at the building at 10 to 3. An old building, 5 floors, no elevator. The office was on the 4th floor. I walked up slowly. My knees hurt. I arrived sweating. I knocked on the door. Come in. I entered. The office was small, 2 desks, filing cabinets up to the ceiling, and a man of about 50 sitting behind one of the desks. Glasses, gray beard, white shirt, no tie. Frank, yes, sir. Richard Bennett, nice to meet you. Sit down. I sat on a plastic chair, hard, uncomfortable. Celeste told me your situation, but I want to hear it from you, in your own words. Take your time. Tell me everything. And I did, from the beginning. Saturday, Brenda, Jason, the bank, Jason, the police, the neighbors, Mr. Henderson, everything. Richard listened, taking notes, without interrupting. When I finished, he put down the pen. Do you have the recording? Yes. I took out the USB, gave it to him. Richard connected it to his computer, opened the video, and we started watching. Together, in silence. I saw my living room emptying again. I saw Jason and Brenda working, laughing, talking. Richard fast-forwarded to the kitchen part, the conversation about the papers, the fake certificate, the nursing home, the sale of the house. We listened to everything. When it finished, Richard rewound, played that part again, listened to it again, took notes. This is gold, he said finally. What this recording? It is exactly what we need. We have conspiracy, fraud, falsification of documents, robbery. We have everything. So you believe me, Frank. It is not a question of believing you. It is a question of evidence, and you have solid evidence, irrefutable. I felt a weight lifted from my chest. What do we do now? Now, Frank, we counterattack. Richard stood up, went to one of the filing cabinets, took out a folder, put it on the desk. First, we are going to file a criminal complaint against Jason and Brenda for robbery, fraud, and forgery. With this recording, the district attorney's office will have no choice but to investigate, and my money, my house. We are going to request precautionary measures to freeze Jason's accounts, to prevent him from selling the house, to protect your assets while they investigate. How long does that take? It depends. Maybe a week, maybe 2. But we have to act fast. If Jason already started the conservatorship process, we have to stop it before a judge signs. How do we stop it? With a real medical certificate from a real doctor. That certifies that you are in full mental faculties, that you do not have dementia, that you can make your own decisions. Do you know anyone? Yes, I have contacts. I can get an appointment for tomorrow. Saturday. It is urgent. Richard started typing on his computer. Fast, concentrated. Frank, I need you to answer something honestly. Do you want to recover your relationship with your son, or do you want justice? The question hit me. I stayed silent, thinking, what did I want? Did I want Jason to be my son again? Did I want to forgive him? Did I want to forget all this? No, I could not. Not after what I saw in that recording. Not after hearing him plan my confinement, my disappearance, my death while alive. I want justice, I said finally. I want him to pay for what he did. Richard nodded. Good. Because this is going to get ugly. Jason is going to hire lawyers. He is going to fight. He is going to say the recording is fake, that you manipulated it. He is going to do everything possible to destroy your credibility. Are you prepared for that? Yes. Are you sure? Yes, I am sure. We spent the next 2 hours reviewing everything. Richard made copies of the video, put the USB in his safe, made me sign papers, authorizations, powers of attorney. Ready, he said finally. Monday first thing we file the complaint, and we are going to ask for a restraining order so Jason cannot come near you or your house. Can you do that? With this evidence, yes, the judge will have no choice. I got up to leave, but Richard stopped me. Frank, one more thing. I need you to see something. He played the video again, but he fast-forwarded to a part I had not seen. The end. When Jason and Brenda had already taken almost everything. They were at the door, about to leave, and Jason turned around, looked straight at the camera, and smiled, a cold smile, calculating, and he raised his hand. Like saying goodbye, he knew, said Richard. He knew the camera was there. He knew it was recording, and he did not care. I froze. Why would he do that? Because he thought you were never going to be able to access the recording. Because Teresa had set the passwords, and you did not know about technology. Because he assumed you were too old, too stupid, too useless to defend yourself. Richard paused the video, right on Jason's smile. That was his mistake, his arrogance, and that is what is going to sink him. I swallowed saliva. Seeing that smile, that mockery, that absolute contempt broke something inside me that I did not know was still whole. And is there anything else in the video? I asked with a hoarse voice. Something worse. Richard looked at me serious. Yes, but I think you have seen enough for today. Show me everything. I need to see everything. Richard sighed, fast-forwarded the video again, to the very end, after they left, the house empty, and me there, sitting on the floor, crying. I saw myself get up, walk to the bedroom, and lie on the floor without a mattress, without a pillow, just the cold floor, and I cried. For hours, the camera recorded it all, my pain, my humiliation, my complete collapse. Turn it off? I said. I have seen enough. Richard closed the laptop. Frank, what your son did to you is not just robbery. It is psychological torture. It is abuse. It is the systematic destruction of a person, and we are going to make sure a judge sees it that way. Do you think we will win? With this evidence, there is no way we lose, but I warn you, winning in court is not going to bring your son back. It is not going to repair the relationship. That is broken. Probably forever. I left Richard's office feeling different, stronger, but also sadder. Because now I knew with absolute certainty that Jason did not love me, that maybe he never loved me, that it was all a lie, or maybe it was real once, when he was a boy, and something changed, something I did not see, something I caused, or maybe simply my son turned into someone I did not know, into a stranger, into a monster. I walked down the stairs slowly. I left the building. And there at the entrance I stopped, because on the other side of the street parked was the white truck, Brenda's, and she was inside looking at me. We stayed like that, looking at each other, for seconds that seemed like hours, and then she drove off and left, leaving me there, with the certainty that they had been following me, that they knew where I was, that they knew what I was doing. I took out my phone. I called Richard. He answered on the second ring. Frank, they were waiting for me outside your office. Brenda. Silence. Did she leave? Yes. Good. Listen. That confirms they are nervous, that they know you are doing something, but they do not know what, yet. So you have to be careful. Do not go out alone at night. Keep the door locked. Do not open to anyone you do not know. Understood. Understood. And Frank, one more thing. Yes, the worst is still to come. When we file the complaint on Monday, Jason is going to attack. He is going to try how to destroy you. It is going to be brutal. Be prepared. I hung up and walked toward the bus stop, feeling the weight of what was coming, but also feeling for the first time in days that I was not alone, that I had weapons, that I had a chance, and that I was going to fight until the end. I got home that Friday night feeling something strange in my chest, something I had not felt in days. It was as if the air was lighter, as if I could breathe again. I had evidence. I had a lawyer. I had a plan. I was no longer helpless. I was no longer the silent victim Jason thought I was. I heated water on the stove, made myself tea with an old bag I found. I sat on the floor and looked at my phone. Jason's number there, saved as Jason with a heart. Teresa had put it like that years ago, and I never changed it. My fingers trembled over the screen. Should I call him? Should I give him one last chance? Or should I go straight to war? Richard told me to wait until Monday. Not to do anything that could alert them, but something inside me needed to hear Jason's voice, needed to give him a chance to explain, to repent, to be my son again, even for a second. I dialed. The phone rang once, twice, 3, 4. I thought he was not going to answer, but on the 5th ring, he answered. Dad, his voice sounded different, cautious. Jason, we need to talk. Silence. Long. Heavy. Dad, now is not a good time. Yes, it is a good time. It is the only time. I breathed deep. I know everything, Jason. I know what you did. I know what you planned. I have evidence. Another silence. But this one was different. I could feel his panic through the phone. What are you talking about? About the security camera. The one that recorded everything on Saturday. The one that recorded your conversation with Brenda. The one that recorded when you forged messages on my phone. Everything. I have it all. I heard his breathing accelerate. Dad, Tell me the truth. For once in your life, tell me the truth. Dad, it was a misunderstanding. His voice changed. Now it sounded soft, pleading, like when he was a boy and got into trouble. Everything got out of control. I just wanted to help you. The house was very neglected. You were not well. And Brenda, she convinced me it was for the best. But I regret it. I swear to you, I regret it. You regret it? Yes, Dad, very much. And I am going to return everything to you. The things, the money, everything. Just give me time. Time for what? To sell my things, to sign the conservatorship papers, to put me in a nursing home. No, Dad, I never wanted that. That was Brenda's idea. She pressured me. She manipulated me. But I realized. I opened my eyes. And I am going to fix everything. I promise you. I wanted to believe him. God, how I wanted to believe him. But something in his voice did not sound real. It sounded rehearsed, as if he were reading the script. Jason, if you really want to fix things, come tomorrow. To the house. At 10 in the morning. Bring everything you took. And we talk. Tomorrow I cannot, Dad. I have things to do. What things are more important than this? Okay, I will go. Tomorrow at 10, I will be there. With everything, I promise. You promise, I swear, on Mom, on Teresa. I swear I am going to fix everything. And he hung up, leaving me there, with the phone in my hand, with his promise floating in the air. He swore on Teresa. Those words gave me hope. Because Jason never swore on his mom in vain. Never. Maybe, just maybe, there was a chance to save something, to recover my son, for this nightmare to end without lawyers or courts, as a family. That night I did not sleep. I stayed sitting on the floor, looking at the door, imagining how it would be. Jason would arrive with the boxes, with my things, with the wardrobe, with everything, he would ask for forgiveness. He would cry. And I would forgive him, because that is what fathers do. Forgive. Always. Teresa told me when Jason was a boy and behaved badly, Frank, children make mistakes, but we forgive them, because they are our blood, and blood is not abandoned. Maybe Teresa was right. Maybe Jason had a good heart deep down, and he had just gotten lost. Maybe Brenda had manipulated him like he said. Oh, maybe there was still time to save him, to save us. I clung to that hope like a castaway to a piece of wood, because it was the only thing I had. On Saturday, I woke up at 6 in the morning, even though I had not slept. I showered. I shaved again. I put on the best clothes I had left. I went out to the street with the $17 I had. I bought bread. I bought coffee. I even bought 2 plastic cups for when Jason arrived, to drink coffee together, like before, like when he came on Sundays and we sat in the garden to talk about football, about life, about everything. I returned home, prepared the coffee, put the bread on a plate, and sat on the porch to wait. It was 7:30, 2.5 hours to go, but I did not care. I was going to wait as long as necessary, because my son was coming. My son was going to fix everything, and everything was going to be fine. 8 past, 9, 9:30. I was still there, sitting, watching the street. Every car that passed made me jump. Was it him? Was it Jason? But no, it was not. 10 o'clock, the agreed time, nothing. 10:10, 10:20. I started feeling a knot in my stomach. Maybe he got delayed. Maybe traffic. Maybe he had a problem. I took out my phone. I dialed, straight to voicemail. The number you dialed is turned off or out of service area. I dialed again. Same message. Again, and again, and again. 10 times. 20. All to voicemail. 11. The coffee was already cold, the bread hard, and Jason did not arrive. He was not going to arrive, and I knew it. Deep down, I always knew. But I did not want to accept it. I did not want to see the truth that was right in front of me. At 11:30, my phone vibrated. A message from Jason. I opened it with trembling hands. Dad, I spoke to a lawyer. He told me the recording does not serve as evidence if it was obtained without consent of all present. He told me you have nothing against me, that everything I took was with your permission, that the messages you sent prove that you are not well. So better leave this be, for your own good, and for mine. Do not contact me again. I read the message 3 times. 4. 5. The words mixed together, erased themselves, appeared again. You have nothing against me. Do not contact me again. My son, my own blood, telling me I had nothing, that I was beaten, that I should give up. I got up from the porch. I entered the house, threw away the cold coffee, threw away the hard bread, and I sat on the floor, with the phone in my hand, reading the message over and over. I called Richard. I needed to talk to someone. I needed him to tell me Jason was lying, that the recording did work, that I was not lost. He answered on the 3rd ring. Frank, Richard Jason sent me a message. He says the recording does not serve. That. It is a lie, he interrupted me. Firm? Sure. The recording was made in your own house, with your own camera. You do not need consent from anyone. It is completely legal, and it is admissible evidence in any court. Are you sure completely? Jason's lawyer lied to him, or Jason is lying to you, probably both. This is an intimidation tactic, nothing more. I breathed, so we proceed with the plan. Yes, Monday first thing. Do not worry, Frank. Jason is scared. That is why he is playing dirty. But we have everything. He has nothing. Thank you, Richard. Do not thank me yet. This is just beginning. I hung up and stayed there, sitting on the floor with my back against the wall. And it was then that I understood. I really understood. Jason had no intention of returning anything. The call on Friday was theater. His apologies were lies. His promise was a trap. He made me wait all day. He made me have hope. He made me believe there was still something of my son there, just to destroy me again, just to show me he had control, that he could play with me, that I was a puppet and he pulled the strings. And the worst of all was that it worked. I fell, like an idiot, like a desperate old man. I clung to hope as if it were real, and he snatched it from me, with a message, cold, calculated, cruel. I closed my eyes, and I saw Jason as a boy, 5 years old, crying because he fell off his bike, and me there, healing his knee, drying his tears. It is over, my son, it is over. Dad is here, and he hugged me, tight, as if I were his hero, his protector, his whole world. At what moment did that boy turn into the man who just destroyed me with a message? At what moment did he stop seeing me as his dad and start seeing me as a nuisance, as something to eliminate? I opened my eyes and looked at my phone. The message still there. Do not contact me again. And something inside me broke. It was not sadness. It was not pain. It was rage. Pure, burning, devastating. Jason thought I had nothing against him. He thought I was alone, that I was beaten. But he was wrong, because now I no longer wanted to forgive him. I no longer wanted to save the relationship. I no longer wanted to recover my son, because that son no longer existed. Maybe he never existed, and the only thing left was to make him pay. On Sunday morning, someone knocked on the door. Early. Too early. It was 7. I looked through the peephole. It was Celeste. I opened. Good morning, Frank. Celeste. What are you doing here so early? I brought someone. Someone you need to meet. She stepped aside, and behind her appeared a man, 50-something, dark suit, blue tie, leather briefcase in hand. It was Richard. Frank. I know we agreed on Monday, but something happened, and I had to come today. Can we come in? Sure, come in. They entered, sat on the floor because there was nowhere else. Celeste took a laptop out of her backpack. Richard opened his briefcase. Frank. I investigated, Brenda said. Richard. And I found something big. My heart accelerated. What did you find? Richard took out a folder. Opened it. Documents. Photos. Screenshots. Brenda Smith, 32 years old. Married 3 times. The 3 marriages ended the same. Older husbands, destroyed families, transferred assets, and her disappearing with everything. He showed me photos. Older men, 60, 70 years old, some in wheelchairs, others with canes, all with the same empty look, broken, like mine. Brenda is a professional con artist. She specializes in vulnerable men, recent widowers, sick, alone. She approaches through the children. She seduces them, convinces them that their parents need care, and then strips them of everything. My God, there is more. Brenda has a network. She works with a lawyer, Charles Reynolds, a notary, James Peterson, and a doctor, Gustavo Roberts. Dr. Roberts, the one who sold the fake certificate to Jason. They all work together. It is a coordinated operation, and they have destroyed at least 7 families in the last 5 years. Celeste opened her laptop, went into Instagram, and look at this. It was Brenda's profile, private, but Celeste had gotten access. I did not ask how. The photos were of a life of luxury, expensive restaurants, 5-star hotels, jewelry, designer purses. And in one of the photos from Thursday, I recognized something. A gold necklace with an emerald. Teresa's necklace. The one I gave her on our 30th anniversary. She wore it on all special occasions. And now it was on Brenda's neck, with a caption, New Vintage Treasure #antiques with history, #timeless luxury. I felt like I was drowning. She is selling Teresa's things. Not only that, said Celeste. Look at the comments. There were dozens. People asking prices, interested in buying, and Brenda answering. Available DM for details. She is using Instagram as a store, and there are more things from your house here. Look, she showed me more photos. My mother's vase, The porcelain plates, the embroidered curtains, everything. Tagged, put on sale, as if they were trash. Frank said, "Richard, Brenda is not just Jason's wife. She is the mind behind all this. She looked for him. She seduced him. She used him. And probably she is going to discard him when he is no longer useful. And Jason, did he know? I do not know. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe at the beginning he was a victim, and then he became an accomplice. What I do know is that both are guilty, and both are going to pay." Richard took out more papers. I contacted the other families. Brenda's victims. 3 of them agreed to testify. Their stories are identical to yours. Emptying of houses, bank transfers, fake medical certificates, conservatorship. Everything same. Same pattern. Same actors. And does that help us? It helps us a lot, because it proves that this is not an isolated case. It is a criminal pattern, a criminal enterprise, and that makes it easier to get arrest warrants, freezing of accounts, and more severe sentences. Celeste closed her laptop, looked at me. "Frank, there is something else you should know. What my grandfather, the one I told you about, the reason I am helping you." He nodded. "He was one of Brenda's victims." I froze. "What, 4 years ago?" "Brenda approached my uncle, my grandfather's son. She seduced him. They got married, and in 6 months my grandfather was in a nursing home. Without money, without house, without anything. He died a year later, broken, alone, convinced that his family had abandoned him. When we tried to help him, it was too late. Brenda had disappeared, and my uncle was left destroyed. He committed suicide 6 months later." Celeste's voice cracked. "I was 20 years old. I did not understand. I did not know. And I hate myself for that, for not having done more, for not having saved him." I took her hand. "It was not your fault." "Yes, it was. Because I had the chance and I did not take it. But now I have it again. With you. And I am not going to waste it." Richard stood up. "Frank, this is no longer just your case. It is a case against a criminal organization. And I already contacted the district attorney's office. They are interested, very interested. Because if we manage to dismantle this network, we could save many other families. What do they need from me? Your testimony, your recording, and your courage. Because this is going to get ugly. Brenda and her partners are going to fight. They are going to try to intimidate you, threaten you, discredit you. They are going to say you are crazy, that everything is a lie, that the recording is fake. They are going to use every resource they have. I do not care. Are you sure? Yes. Because if I do not do it for me, I do it for Celeste's grandfather, for the other victims, for everyone who could not defend themselves." Richard smiled. "Good. Because we are going to need that. That determination, that rage." He crouched down, looked at me fixedly. "Frank, we are going to destroy them. All of them. But I need you to trust me. Completely. Can you do that?" "Yes, I can." We spent the next 3 hours reviewing everything. Richard explained the plan. Monday we would file the complaint. Against Jason Brenda, the lawyer Reynolds, the notary, Peterson, and Dr. Roberts. 5 people, all connected, all guilty. We would also request immediate precautionary measures, freezing of accounts, prohibition of sale of assets, restraining order. "And there is something else," said Richard. "We are going to make this public. Very public. We are going to contact the media, newspapers, television, social networks. We are going to expose Brenda, show her network, warn other families. Is that legal? Completely. And it is necessary. Because if we do not do it, she is going to continue. She is going to find another victim, another Jason, another family, and my son. What is going to happen to him when this becomes public?" Richard looked at me, serious. "He is going to be humiliated, destroyed socially, probably lose his job, his friends, everything. Can you live with that?" The question hurt me, because the answer was yes. Yes, I could live with that. And that scared me. What had I become? At what moment did I stop being the father who forgave everything and became the man who wanted to destroy his own son? But then I remembered Jason's smile in front of the camera, the message from Saturday, "Do not contact me again," Teresa's jewels on Brenda's neck, and the answer became clearer. I was not destroying my son. My son was already destroyed. I was just defending myself. "Yes," I said finally, "I can live with that." Celeste put her hand on my shoulder. "Frank, why are we doing this?" "What do you really want?" I thought. For the first time, I really thought. "I do not want revenge," I said slowly. "I just want Jason to look at me and feel shame. I want him to know that what he did was wrong, that he destroyed me, and that despite everything I got up. I fought, and I won. That is what I want." Richard put away his papers. "Ready. Tomorrow at 8 in the morning we see each other at the district attorney's office. Bring the USB, bring your ID, and bring courage, because you are going to need it." He left, leaving me with Celeste. She stayed a while longer, in silence, just sitting with me on the empty floor. "Are you afraid?" she asked me. "Yes." "Of what?" "That this does not work, that in the end Jason wins. And I end up in a nursing home, alone, like your grandfather. It is not going to happen." "How do you know?" "Because this time there is someone fighting. This time there is someone who refuses to disappear, and that person is you." She got up. "Rest, Frank. Tomorrow the war starts." And she left, leaving me there, in my empty house, with the weapons finally in my hands and ready to fight. That night I went to bed early. I tried to sleep, but I could not. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Jason, as a child, as a teenager, as an adult, all versions of him, passing in front of me like a movie, and I asked myself, where did I go wrong? At what moment did I lose him? Was it when I chose to work double shifts instead of going to his football match? Was it when Teresa got sick and I locked myself in pain and left him alone? Was it before, always, maybe Jason always had this inside, this capacity to destroy, and I simply did not see it, or I did not want to see it. Because parents do not want to see evil in their children. We want to believe they are good, that they are better than us, that the world is not going to break them. But sometimes we are wrong, and by the time we realize, it is too late. I got up from the floor, went to the kitchen, drank water, and looked out the window. The street empty, the night silent. And I thought of Teresa, of what she would say if she were here. "Frank, children are borrowed. They come through us, not for us. And sometimes, just sometimes, we have to let them go. Even if it hurts, even if it kills us." Maybe Teresa was right. Maybe not the Jason that was. That one no longer existed. But the Jason I believed he was. The son I imagined. The son who was never real. And except that the man who remained was a stranger. Someone I did not know. Someone who was capable of things I never imagined. And that was okay. Because I was no longer his father. I no longer had that responsibility. I no longer had to protect him. I no longer had to save him. I only had to save myself. And that finally was what I was going to do. On Monday at 8 in the morning, we filed the complaint, Richard, Celeste, and me, at the district attorney's office. The assigned prosecutor was named Edward Moore, a serious man, about 40 years old. He reviewed everything, the recording, the documents, the testimonies of the other victims. And when he finished, he looked at me and said, "Frank, this is solid, very solid. We are going to proceed with immediate criminal charges." 2 days later, on Wednesday, the court summons arrived. Preliminary hearing, Friday at 10 in the morning, at the 3rd Criminal Court. Jason and Brenda were officially notified, and according to Richard, Jason hired the most expensive lawyer in Chicago, Robert Blake, a guy known for defending impossible cases and winning them. "Do not worry," Richard told me. "Blake is good, but we have the truth. And the truth always wins eventually." That word eventually gave me chills. On Friday, I arrived at the court at 9:30. Richard was already there, with Celeste, and with the 3 victims who were going to testify. Older men like me, with the same broken looks, the same stories. We greeted each other without words, just feelings, because we all knew. We had all been through the same hell. At 5 to 10, we entered the room. Small, gray walls, fluorescent lights, a smell of damp and old paper. There were 3 rows of wooden benches. We sat in front, Richard by my side, Celeste behind. And then I heard the door open, steps, voices, and I knew without turning. Jason had arrived. My heart accelerated. My hands sweated. I had not seen him since Saturday, since he emptied my house, since he destroyed me. And now I was going to have him face to face, without escape, without lies, only the truth. I turned slowly, and there he was, Jason in a dark suit, blue tie, combed, shaved. He looked like a businessman, successful, respectable. Nothing to do with the monster I knew. By his side, Brenda, black dress, high heels, perfect makeup, as if she were going to a social gathering, not a criminal hearing. And behind them, the lawyer, Blake, tall, imposing, with a confident smile that gave me nausea. Jason saw me. Our eyes met, and for a second, just a second, I saw something. Fear, regret, shame. I do not know. Because immediately he looked away and sat down, on the other side of the room, as far as possible from me, as if I were the criminal, as if I were the threat. All rise. The Honorable Judge Harold Palmer presiding. We all stood up. The judge entered, a man of about 60. White hair, thick glasses, serious expression. He sat down, reviewed the papers in front of him, and spoke. Good morning. We are here for the preliminary hearing of case 2025-36847, the State versus Jason Robinson and Brenda Smith, for the crimes of aggravated robbery, fraud, falsification of documents, and conspiracy. His voice was deep, authoritative. Before proceeding, I ask, is there any possibility of agreement between the parties? Blake stood up. Yes, Your Honor. My client is willing to reach an agreement. He acknowledges there were misunderstandings, and he is willing to return certain assets in dispute in exchange for dropping charges. The judge looked at me. Frank Robinson. Richard touched my arm. I stood up. No, Your Honor. There is no possible agreement. The judge nodded. Very well, let us proceed. District Attorney Moore, present your evidence. The prosecutor stood up, connected a laptop to the projector, and it appeared on the wall. My living room, empty. And then the video started. Everyone in the room went silent, watching, listening. We saw Jason and Brenda enter. We saw the boxes, the bags. We saw how they packed everything, how they laughed. And then came the kitchen part, the conversation. Did you sign the papers tomorrow? I have an appointment at the notary on Monday, and if he refuses, he will not be able to refuse. I have everything. The fake messages, the neighbors' testimonies, the medical certificate. What medical certificate I paid Dr. Roberts? $500. The silence in the room was absolute, heavy, suffocating. I looked at Jason. He was pale, with his head down, hands clenched on the table. Brenda looked straight ahead, without expression, as if none of this had to do with her. The video continued. We saw Jason falsifying the messages on my phone. We saw Brenda trying on Teresa's jewelry. We saw everything, every second, every word, every betrayal. When it finished, the judge turned off the projector, took off his glasses, cleaned them slowly, and spoke. Mr. Jason Robinson, do you have anything to say? Silence. Long. Heavy. Jason did not move. Blake whispered something in his ear. Jason shook his head. Mr. Robinson, I asked you a question. Do you have anything to say in your defense? Jason raised his head. Slowly. He looked at me, for the first time since entering the room, and spoke. His voice came out hoarse, broken. It was supposed to be ours. Everyone fell silent. What did you say? Asked the judge. What was supposed to be ours? The house, the money, everything. Mom was gone. And he pointed at me. He was going to die alone anyway, in a few years, maybe months. Why wait? Why pretend he mattered when he never mattered? I stood up, without thinking, without planning it. How can you say that my voice came out stronger than I expected? Frank, please. The judge tried to calm me, but I could not in that moment. You never cared about me. I raised you alone. When your mom worked double shifts, I took you to school. I helped you with homework. I taught you to ride a bike, to use tools, to be a man. And you say you never mattered to me. Jason stood up too. Now both of us standing face to face. These two. You were never there. Always working. Always in the shop. Mom raised me alone while you hid at work. I worked to feed you, to pay for your school. So you had a roof. I did not ask for any of that. I just asked you to be there to see me, but you never did. Order, order in the court. The judge banged the gavel, loud, repeatedly. Gentlemen, sit down immediately. I sat down, trembling, breathing fast. Jason sat down too, with tears in his eyes, and I did not know if they were real or acted. I knew nothing about my son anymore. Mr. Robinson, said the judge, are you admitting to the charges? Blake stood up quickly. Your Honor, my client is under a lot of stress. He is not in conditions to... Yes, Jason interrupted him. Yes, I admit it. I did everything the video says, everything. But it was not out of malice. It was because I was also suffering. Mom died, and Dad closed himself off. He did not let me help him. He did not let me be close. And Brenda, she just wanted to help. She convinced me it was for the best for both of us. For both of us, asked the prosecutor. Including the part where you planned to commit him to a nursing home and sell his house? Jason did not answer. He lowered his head again, and at that moment I knew there was no real regret, only self-pity, only excuses, attempts to justify the unjustifiable. The judge spoke again. Frank, do you want to add anything before I dictate precautionary measures? I stood up, slowly. I walked toward Jason. Richard tried to stop me, but I did not let him. I reached his table. I stood in front of him. So close I could see every detail of his face, the new wrinkles, the bags under his eyes, the unshaven beard, and I spoke, low, just for him. I forgive you, Jason. His eyes opened, surprised, because that is what fathers do. Forgive, always, even when they should not, even when it hurts. I leaned closer, but listen to me well. You are no longer my son. I do not know what you are. But you are not my son, because my son died the day you walked into my house with those boxes, the day you decided my life was worth nothing. That day I lost him, and he is never coming back. I straightened up. So yes, I forgive you, but never, never call yourself my son again. I turned around, walked back to my place, and sat down, without looking back, without turning. The judge spoke, dictated the measures, freezing of accounts, prohibition of approaching me, prohibition of selling any asset related to the case, order to return all stolen items within 72 hours, bail of $50,000 each, and date for the oral trial, 3 months later. Everything happened fast, blurry, like a dream, or a nightmare. And when the judge banged the gavel for the last time and said session adjourned, I was already standing. Walking toward the exit, Richard followed me. Celeste, too. And when I crossed that door, when I left that room, I felt something strange. Liberation. Not happiness. Not victory. Just liberation. As if a weight I had been carrying for years without realizing had been lifted. Outside the court, there were journalists, cameras, microphones. Richard had called them, like he promised. They surrounded us. Frank, how do you feel? What message do you have for other families? Will you forgive your son? The questions came from everywhere. I just said one thing. Only one. If anyone is going through this, if anyone feels their family is betraying them, do not stay silent. Speak up. Seek help. Because you matter. Your life matters. And no one, not even your own blood, has the right to take it away. And I left, walking slow, with Richard on one side, Celeste on the other, leaving behind the court, leaving behind Jason, leaving behind the son who was never what I believed. And although it hurt, although my chest burned, although I felt something inside me had broken forever, I also felt that for the first time in weeks I could breathe. I could walk with my head high. I could be myself again, without shame, without guilt, without fear, just me, Frank Robinson, 68 years old, carpenter, widower, survivor. 3 months later, I'm sitting in my recliner, not the old one they took. This is a new one, bought at a flea market, used but comfortable. It cost $30. It cost me everything I had at that moment, but it was worth it, because now I have somewhere to sit, somewhere to rest, somewhere to watch the television I also bought. Small, 20 inches, but it works. The house is no longer empty. It is not full like before, but it has the essentials. A bed, a table, 2 chairs, pots, plates, cutlery, everything bought little by little, with the money Jason had to return to me, not all, because much was lost, sold, disappeared, but enough to start over. To live again, the walls are no longer naked. There are new photos, but they are not of Teresa, they are not of Jason, they are of Celeste, of Richard, of Mr. Henderson, of the people who stayed, who helped me, who saved me. The trial was 2 weeks ago. Jason was sentenced, 3 years in prison, but the judge gave him house arrest considering he had no prior record. He has to pay a fine of $30,000, plus the full return of everything stolen, plus a compensation of $20,000 for moral damages. Brenda was not so lucky. She did go to prison, 5 years without house arrest, because it was proven she had done the same to 7 other families. She was a repeat offender. She was a professional criminal. Dr. Roberts lost his medical license. Lawyer Reynolds is being investigated. Notary Peterson was suspended. The whole network crumbled. And it all started with my case, with my recording, with my decision not to stay silent. Richard told me after the sentencing, "Frank, you saved many families, without knowing it, just by fighting, just by refusing to disappear." Jason tried to talk to me after the sentence. He sent messages, called, even came to the house, knocked on the door. "Dad, please, I need to talk to you." I was inside, listening. "Dad, I am sorry. Really, I am sorry. I made a mistake, a horrible mistake, but I am still your son. I'm still Jason, please." He knocked for 10 minutes, then he gave up. He left, and I stood there, on the other side of the door, with tears in my eyes, because yes, it hurt. Of course it hurt. He was my son, my blood. But Teresa told me something once, many years ago, when Jason was a teenager and had lied to us about something. I do not remember what, but I remember what Teresa said. Frank family is not who shares your blood. Family is who stays, who chooses to stay, even when it is difficult, even when it hurts. That is real family. And she was right, as always. Now I visit Celeste every week. We go for lunch. She pays because I still do not have much money. But I bring dessert, always. Homemade cookies, or a cake I make on my old stove. And we talk about everything, about nothing. She tells me about her job, about her boyfriends, about her dreams, and I listen, like a grandfather, because that is what I am to her now. And she is like a granddaughter to me, the family I chose, the family that stayed. I also visit Richard in his office. We drink coffee, and he tells me about his cases, about other people like me, who are fighting against children, against siblings, against families that betrayed them, and I send them messages through Richard. Do not give up. You matter. Your life matters. Fight. And some do, and win. And they write to me later, thanking me, and I tell them, do not thank me. Thank yourselves for being brave. A month ago, Richard asked me something frank. There is a support group for elderly victims of family abuse. They meet every Thursday in a church downtown. Would you like to go? Maybe talk, share your story, give hope to others. I went. The first time I only listened. There were about 20 people, all over 60, all with the same looks, the same stories, children who stole, families that betrayed, lives that were destroyed. And when it was my turn to speak, I did not know what to say. I stayed silent, paralyzed. But then a lady, Mrs. Margaret, took my hand. Tell us. Do not be afraid. Here we all understand. And I did. I told everything, from the beginning. And when I finished, everyone was crying. But not of sadness. Of something else. Recognition. Validation. Knowing they were not alone. Now I go every Thursday. And every time I speak a little more, I share what I learned, what I survived. And some listen to me and decide to fight. Others just need to know they are not crazy, that what happened to them was real and bad, and that it was not their fault. The day before yesterday, a lady, Mrs. Beatrice, thanked me. Frank, thanks to your story, I dared to report my daughter. Today I recovered my house. I recovered my life, and she hugged me. Tight, and I cried, because I realized something. My pain was not in vain. My suffering served for something, to save me and to save others, and that somehow gives meaning to everything. Teresa used to say, Frank, life puts you through tests, and sometimes you pass them, and sometimes you do not. But the important thing is not passing or not passing. It is what you learn, and what you do with that. And I learned that dignity is not negotiable, that love does not justify abuse, that forgiving does not mean forgetting, and that sometimes letting go is the only way to survive. The security camera is still there, in the corner of the ceiling. The little red light still blinks. Sometimes I look at it, and I thank it, because that camera saved my life. Teresa installed it without knowing that someday it would be my only defense, my only proof, my only voice when no one listened to me, and somehow it was Teresa saving me. Even after death, even when she was no longer there, because that was the kind of woman she was. She thought of everything. She prepared for everything, even for the worst, and she left me the tools to survive, to fight, to win. Sometimes I talk to her, out loud. Teresa, I made it. I survived. I do not know how, but I did. And I feel she listens, from somewhere, and that she is proud. A week ago, Jason returned. He knocked on the door again, this time with a letter. He left it in the mailbox. I read it that night. It said, Dad, I know I do not deserve your forgiveness. I know I destroyed everything. But I want you to know that every day I regret it. Every day I wake up, and I remember what I did, and I hate myself. I do not expect you to forgive me. I just hope that someday you can remember me how I was before, when I was a boy, when you still loved me, when we were still a family. I love you. I have always loved you, even if it does not seem like it. Jason. I read the letter 3 times, and then I put it away, in a drawer, together with the old photos of Jason as a boy, the few I recovered. I did not throw it away, but I did not answer either, because I still do not know what to say. I still do not know if there is anything to say. Maybe someday, maybe never. I do not know, and it is okay not to know. Last night I had a dream. I was in my house, but it was not empty. It was full, with all the furniture, with all Teresa's things. And she was there, alive, smiling. Frank, why are you crying? She asked me. Because I miss you. Because everything is so difficult without you. I know. But you are doing well. You are fighting. You are living. That is what matters. And Jason chose his path. You cannot save him. Only he can save himself. Your job was to be his father. And you were. Good or bad, you were. And that is it. Now your job is to be you. Live your life. Be happy for you, for me, for everyone who loves you. I woke up crying, but also smiling, because she was right. Teresa was always right. My job was no longer to be Jason's father. That is over. Now my job was to be Frank, and that was enough. Today is Thursday, group meeting day. I am getting ready to leave. I put on a clean shirt. I comb my hair. I look in the mirror, and I see a different man, not the one I was 3 months ago. That man was broken, destroyed, without hope. This man has scars. He has pain. He has memories that are never going to be erased. But he also has strength. He has dignity. He has purpose. And that, after all, is more than I thought I would have. I leave the house. I close the door. Locked. Always locked. Because Jason no longer has a copy. He no longer has access. He no longer has power over me. And I walk toward the bus stop, with my head high, with the sun on my face, with the certainty that I survived, and that in itself is a victory. If someday Jason returns, I will be here, in my house, with my things, with my rebuilt life, and the door will be closed, not with rage, not with hate, only with limits, with the certainty that some doors once closed must stay that way, to protect us, to heal us, to remind us that we deserve respect, even from our own blood, especially from our own blood. And if that makes me bad, if that makes me cruel, so be it. Because I learned that taking care of oneself is not selfishness, it is survival. And I chose to survive. And you, what would you do if something like this happened to you? Have you already had to choose between forgiving and protecting your dignity? Have you already been betrayed by someone who swore to love you? Tell me in the comments. I want to know your story. I want to know I am not alone in this. If this story touched your heart, leave me your like. Share this video. Subscribe to the channel because every week I share real stories. That could be yours. Stories of pain, but also of hope. Of falling, but also of getting up. And never forget this. Family is not who shares your blood. Family is who stays, who chooses to stay. Even when everything falls apart, that is the family. Worth it. Thanks for listening until the end. See you in the next story. Take care. And remember, your life matters. Always.